What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So today we're going to be looking at the status of Gotham Knights. We're going to be looking at the amount of information that we've gotten, assessing if, in my opinion, you think this is one of the more transparent video game releases that you've seen in a while. Now, most video games will probably not show this much. Yes, there'll probably be a lot of showcases or gameplay, previews done here and there, but it appears that the extended time that we got to wait for this game has really weighed in the favor of fans having to see exactly what it is that this game is possibly going to be about. One really interesting part of this is we got to see gameplay very early on at the onset of the game. Many of you already know this. In 2020, at the first DC Fandom event, Gotham Knights pretty much came in with gameplay from Batgirl trying to resolve the Mr. Freeze questline or mission, whatever you want to call it. In the past, I've always argued nonetheless that was the game, and I remembered I got a lot of heat for it, but it was interesting to see that the game had already reached that phase of development at the time. Now, yes, there were issues to get the game to the PlayStation 4 and to the Xbox One, but this was something where it appeared that technology was not going to take maybe the networking side of things, maybe the open world side of things without having a Cyberpunk 2077 moment. And many of you already know the story surrounding this. Now, the developers have pretty much countered this notion that their game is possibly going to be one of those games that people don't necessarily know what's going on by not hiding a lot from their game. In fact, one of the more interesting things yesterday was how they had no reserve in this IGN showcase, where they got to show us the city, Gotham. They showed us the onset of building the world, but then they got to show us the skill tree of their RPG version or telling of this Gotham Knights video game story. And I thought this was very, very impressive. Now, not necessarily that the skill tree itself is impressive, because we have seen some video games that have skill trees that blow you away, but the fact that they're actually showing it this early, even the locked skill tree, which is the knighthood tree, was the one that kind of surprised me. I thought they were going to keep it locked, but apparently it's something that's there in the game. And so this basically fleshes out Gotham Knights for us. We've gotten to see a little bit of the beginning. We got to see that book on Amazon.co.uk as well that kind of showed us a little bit of the prologue. And I think there's just information everywhere. You can turn any corner and find something that you're looking for on Gotham Knights. The only thing that we do not have, and this is something I argue for, but I would sound a little entitled, is game feel. Game feel being a way in which we, the users, can get kind of a slice of the game before it's released. And this is usually in the form of a demo or whatever it may be. Now, if you're playing on specific platforms, you have the opportunity to be able to get your own little slice of the game, depending on the marketplace's, policies and formulas as to how refunds are done. But I don't think I'm refunding this game. I made a video in the past where, for those of us who are Steam players or Epic Games Store players, we have a 2-hour window within which to say, I don't want to play this game anymore, and they're going to give you your money back. So that's already a thing where you can use as a tool if you're curious. I've used it as a tool for many games that I played, and in the first few hours I knew there's no way I want to play this game, continuously, and I went ahead and refunded it. But in the case of Gotham Knights, I already have a huge visual library. I have a huge, documentation of a lot of things that are in the game, and we have timelines for the game, and we also have the respect of the developers. Now, it did, feel at a point like the developers didn't necessarily care to reveal anything. And it seemed like everything was so jaded. And in the community, most people accuse the devs of not having a marketing strategy or a plan. And I think this was probably one of those complications where the release of the game was probably in some weird, dire straits. The PlayStation 4 version and Xbox version were probably not ready, but now the game has gone gold, and that's been revealed. And so everything that we're seeing right now is already a major part of the game. Now, when a game goes gold, doesn't mean that, everything is 110% working or fixed. It just means that the game is already in this final playable state. And so other things like optimization, maybe other, Functionality is probably, a place where they can be adding them, like all those other things like ray tracing, if the game has ray tracing. Honestly, I don't care about ray tracing. I have RTX machines on my laptops, and I don't even use the ray tracing functionality because RTX laptops are, huge sounding generators once you fire up, heavy functionality on them to play a game. And so these are some of the aspects surrounding Gotham Knights that I feel have sold me in regard to the game. And what's crazy too is there's still at least 10 more days this month where they're going to be showing at least maybe 3 more aspects of the game, or 3 major aspects of the game. Even if they're minor aspects, I think the picture is already clear for most of us. And this is why many of you are, at this point going to play Gotham Knights. In fact, some people yesterday said they saw the skill tree and it really did change their perspective surrounding the game. What was even really cool in this entire thing, and I mentioned this in my last video where I explained the skill tree, was in the skill tree, as they were actually speaking on it, somebody was hovering around or above every single skill, and you could read the description of the skill. You could see exactly what the skill accomplished. You could see the numerical calculations if it was something about physical, physical damage or critical hits. And you kind of got to see that Red Hood is not just a player that's going to only just be spamming his guns, but I think there's a level of expertise that will come into this player because there are critical hits now. So if you're really going to be hitting headshots or hitting spots, in the enemy, torso or whatever that deals more damage, there's going to be a rewarding playstyle for this character. Ladies and gentlemen, this took it a whole different notch from what we've seen in the past few weeks and months surrounding the character. And so, in fact, it's not necessarily out of the question anymore for anybody who wants the main Red Hood to actually do so. And again, it seems to me, and I said this as well yesterday, that if anyone's worried about combos, it might be a thing where they haven't necessarily shown how this character works in close proximity. But I did see him basically strike an enemy multiple times in this reveal. I was quite shocked. He dodged the enemy and then he hit him twice in a row with 2 basic attacks. And so I was thinking maybe there's a place where you can hit him with multiple basic attacks and then also do quick fires to be able to chain your combos together at the same time. Now, for me, the dodge mechanics, they could be better. But I think we'll probably get to a point where you either get used to it or you maybe use dodge mechanics from other characters like Robin and Batgirl and even Nightwing himself. But at the end of the day, I'd love to hear what you think so far about all of the information surrounding Gotham Knights. Has it, pretty much given you all the info you need to either decide yes or no, or are you at this point still sitting on the fence? And for those that think that Gotham Knights is going to go on Game Pass and that you're going to play it for, day one or something because you think the game is not going to do well, I guess we're going to hedge the bets on you because you're the one that's betting against Gotham Knights. For some of us, we've been betting for Gotham Knights, even though the game may not necessarily be perfect, even though for some of us that wanted an Arkham game, the game is not necessarily going to be that game. It still seems to be able to hold its own from what it is that I see. But I'm looking forward to your comments as well. I'm curious just to know all sides of this particular conversation surrounding the game. Thanks so much for watching the video. I really appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon. Peace out.